Dear finance professionals and students, welcome to podcast of FCA Deepak Rao, a practicing chartered accountant. Weekly digest for week 3 of July 2024. App-based mobility providers such as Uber have approached the Finance Ministry, Goods and Service Tax Council, and the Authority for Advanced Rulings or AAR seeking clarification on whether their business was liable to tax or not. The move follows a decision from the Karnataka AAR that held that Bengaluru-based direct-to-driver app Nammayatri was not liable to pay GST. The AAR, in the case of JustPay Technologies that runs the Nammayatri mobility platform, relied upon the dictionary meaning of the word through and held that the mere act of linking service providers with customers through a digital platform did not constitute a supply of service and thus not liable to tax. The government is working towards a strategy to tackle non-tariff barriers faced by exporters by setting up a committee and launching a portal. Typically, non-tariff barriers take several years to resolve. The development comes at a time when India is negotiating free trade agreements with several developed economies where non-tariff measures related to environment and sustainability have become a cause for concern for Indian exporters. The big five audit firms in India are facing a talent crunch. A regulatory clampdown and a higher number of relatively safer career opportunities elsewhere are pulling chartered accountants away from the audit profession. The auditing verticals in top firms are operating with 20% lower staff than the required strength. At present, the top 5 firms have around 12,500 people in their audit function. The Institute of Chartered Accountant of India's Centre for Audit Quality proposes to bring out version 2 of the Audit Quality Maturity Model. The same was considered by the Council at its 432nd meeting and as decided, the same is being issued for public comments. The Audit Quality Maturity Model is a cross-functional evaluation model developed with an objective to enable the audit firms to evaluate their current level of audit maturity and also identify areas where competencies need to be strengthened. Bharti Group-backed Etisalat OneWeb and Reliance Jio are believed to have called on Communications Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia to consider early provisional allocation of satellite spectrum for around 6 months so that companies that have the requisite permissions can quickly launch broadband from space services commercially in India. They aim to compete with Kuiper and Starlink. India's space economy could hit $44 billion by 2033 with appropriate policies. The centre is considering a change in the holding period for computing capital gains tax on immovable assets such as real estate to bring about uniformity. Currently, any capital gain from sale of real estate held for 24 months or less is treated as a short-term capital gain. In contrast, the holding period threshold for listed equities and equity mutual funds is 12 months. The proposal suggests that property held for more than 12 months be considered long-term assets, bringing this in line with equities and equity mutual funds. Banks are preparing for collective equity fundraise of nearly Rs 40,000 crore in the second half of this financial year. They are expected to use the fresh capital to reinforce balance sheets, mainly to support expansion. The boards of state-run Punjab National Bank and Bank of Maharashtra have approved proposals to raise Rs 7,500 crore each. Union Bank of India said it may opt for a qualified institutional placement as well as other equity routes for raising Rs 6,000 crore. Banks are likely to soon set up a Section 8 entity under the Companies Act to apply for a self-regulatory organization or SRO license for the fintech sector under Reserve Bank's framework. Lenders have also held discussions with other organizations, including the Payment Council of India, to be part of this new firm. The CBIC has received various representations from trade and industry seeking clarifications on various issues pertaining to the taxability and valuation of supply of services of providing corporate guarantee between related persons. Therefore, the CBIC has issued circular to provide clarity regarding the applicability of Rule 28(2), which is amended retrospectively with effect from 26 October 2023. It is also clarified that in respect of supply of services of providing corporate guarantee between related persons, in respect of corporate guarantee issued or renewed before 26 October 2023, the valuation of the said supply is said to be done in accordance with Rule 28 as it existed during that time. However, if the corporate guarantee is issued or renewed on or after 26 October 2023, then the valuation of the said supply will be required to be done as per Rule 28(2) of the CGST rules. Indian banks are increasing deposit rates with offerings ranging from 6.9% to 7.3% for various durations. This comes after the RBI's directive to narrow the gap between deposit and credit growth. Banks aim to attract more retail deposits by providing higher interest rates amidst expectations of a changing rate cycle. Norwegian investment company Orkla said it is exploring a possible initial public offering of its Indian unit, which owns spices and condiment brands MTR and Eastern. With sales of Rs 2,300 crore last calendar year, MTR gets about 70% of its revenues from spices and masalas. Last year, the company restructured its Indian operations under one business entity, Orkla India, with 3 business units, MTR, Eastern and international businesses, in an attempt to leverage their combined business capabilities and drive sharper growth. Orkla entered India in 2007 by acquiring MTR Foods, and nearly 4 years ago, it bought a majority stake in Kerala-based spice maker Eastern Condiments. Mutual funds may soon get to offer investment products that have been accessible mostly to rich investors with bigger amounts to invest. The Securities and Exchange Board of India has proposed to introduce a new asset class for investors who want to put between Rs 10 lakh and Rs 50 lakh in differentiated investment strategies such as long-short equity and inverse exchange traded funds, among others. Investors can invest a minimum of Rs 10 lakhs in such products below the threshold of Rs 50 lakh for portfolio management services or PMS and Rs 1 crore for alternative investment funds or AIFs. The minimum investment size of mutual funds is as low as Rs 500 and there is no cap. Several affluent investors put money in PMS and AIFs for more focused and unique investment strategies. The National Company Law Tribunal, or NCLT, on July 16th admitted embattled EdTech company Byju's parent Think and Learn to insolvency resolution process in a plea filed by the Board of Control for Cricket in India, or BCCI. The NCLT also dismissed Byju's request to refer the dispute to arbitration. The International Monetary Fund upgrades India's financial year 25 growth forecast to 7% and maintains the country's fastest growing economy status. The outlook also highlights risk related to inflation, currency volatility, and trade tensions, emphasizing the importance of prudent policy decisions and multilateral cooperation. Foreign investments in Indian government bonds have climbed more than $1 billion in the 2 weeks since domestic sovereign debt was included in a JP Morgan index, adding to the $11 billion yield influencing inflows since the inclusion was announced in September 2023. Karnataka government halts job quota bill amid industry criticism. The bill aimed to reserve jobs for Kannadigas in private firms but faced pushback from industry veterans. Debate continues over the potential impact of the proposed legislation on the state's economy and tech industry. Overseas fundraising by Indian firms is experiencing a robust revival in 2024 following a lackluster 2023. This resurgence is primarily driven by strong demand for high-yield bonds from international investors amid improving liquidity conditions and reduced hedging costs. Indian companies raised Rs 32,619 crore through overseas bonds in the first half of 2024, surpassing the total amount raised via such instruments in the entire 2023, which stood at Rs 31,218 crore. In comparison, Rs 45,237 crore was raised in 2022 and Rs 1.05 trillion was secured in 2021. In a bid to simplify the tax filing process, the Income Tax Department has released updated e-filing utilities for ITR 7. This form is specifically for persons including companies required to furnish returns under Section 139(4)A, 139(4)B, 139(4)C or 139(4)D of the Income Tax Act 1961. The new utilities aim to enhance user experience and ensure compliance with the latest tax regulations. RBI has issued 3 revised master directions on fraud risk management for the regulated entities, which cover number 1, commercial banks including regional rural banks and all India financial institutions, number 2, cooperative banks, and NBFCs including housing finance companies. These master directions are principle-based and strengthen the role of the board in overall governance and oversight of fraud risk management in regulated entities. These directions also emphasize the need for a robust internal audit and control framework in regulated entities. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India has officially released the schedule for the CA Final November 2024 exams. Aspiring chartered accountants can now start their preparations in full swing, knowing the exact dates for their upcoming examinations. The Ministry of Corporate Affairs has released notification number GSR 404 on July 15, 2024 to announce the company's Significant Beneficial Owners Amendment Rules 2024. These updated rules are set to enhance the transparency and accountability of beneficial ownership in companies and will be effective from August 1, 2024. As per the amended norms, Form BEN2 has been substituted with new format for the MCA version 3 portal. The new format allows users to fill out a form to change an existing significant beneficial ownership or update the particulars of existing significant beneficial ownership under Section 90 of the Companies Act. The Ministry of Corporate Affairs has issued notification number GSR 403 on July 15, 2024, announcing the company's Management and Administration Amendment Rules 2024. These new rules, set to take effect from August 1, 2024, aim to streamline and enhance the management and administration practices within companies. Now, the Form MGT6 has been substituted with the new format for MCA version 3 portal. New feature of PAN validation of shareholders and beneficial owners has been introduced. The Ministry of Corporate Affairs has issued notification number GSR 404 dated July 16, 2024 to announce the company's appointment and qualification of directors amendment rules 2024. These new rules will come into effect from August 1st, 2024. A new proviso has been added which states that if an individual intends to update his personal mobile number or email address again at any time during the financial year, in addition to the updation allowed under the third proviso, he or she shall update the same by submitting an e-form DIR 3 KYC on the payment of fee of Rs 500. Cash Trap Byju's has moved the National Company Law Appellate Tribunal or NCLAT against the recent order of National Company Law Tribunal or NCLT that allowed Indian Cricket Board's petition for initiating insolvency proceedings against the EdTech company. Airbus recently announced Air India's order of 250 aircrafts with 210 A320s and 40 A350s. Indigo also ordered over 1,000 aircraft, including 30 A350s. The A350's efficiency and advanced design make it a popular choice. Airbus has delivered 606 A350s to date, with plans to double production by 2028 to meet the demand. Bharat Petroleum Corporation, India's third largest refiner, anticipates Middle Eastern crude producers to reduce official selling prices due to declining fuel margins. Global refiners face lower profitability with decreased fuel cracks. BPCL's net profit for the quarter ended June 30th dropped 70% year-on-year. The company processes 700,000 barrels per day and sells 52.5 million metric tons of refined fuel annually. Microsoft CrowdStrike glitch. In a catastrophic IT failure, a botched software update by CrowdStrike crashed Microsoft Windows systems worldwide, affecting industries from banking to healthcare. Businesses faced disruptions as tech workers manually rebooted systems. The incident highlights the vulnerability of global supply chains to IT failures and cyber threats. Airlines, banks, and hospitals were among the severely impacted sectors with ongoing repercussions. After a recent update to the tax filing utility on the income tax portal this month, many taxpayers are facing the unexpected issue of being denied a valid rebate of up to Rs 25,000 under the new tax regime. This problem specifically affects those who have booked short-term capital gains, contradicting the provisions of the Income Tax Act 1961. In a recent communication to the Central Board of Direct Taxes or CBDT, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India has raised a significant issue affecting individual taxpayers. The ICAI has requested the allowance of a rebate under Section 87A of the Income Tax Act on short-term capital gains chargeable under Section 111A and long-term capital gains chargeable under Section 112. This request highlights the need for amendments to the current tax utility to align it with provisions of the law. This podcast is sponsored by Sound of CA. We share because we care. Vande Mataram, Jai Hind.